People have often called us Black folks loud, boisterous, and thundering. Our laugh cackling cackles and exuberant exaltings deemed uncouth in certain spaces. Poetry is my modality for expression. It is my medicine. It allows me to take my feelings and even sometimes confusion and direct it in an art form that feels beautiful for me. As a Black woman, I think people don't often listen to me, and I can't fully express my emotions because of the stereotypes of an angry Black woman, but I can put my anger in poetry. I can put my sadness in poetry, my joy there, and it is a beautiful vehicle for people to start to understand. So I think it is maybe my language, maybe my dialect, but the ways in which people can really understand who I am, and I can curate my message beautifully. Our voices, cacophony to most ears, jazz to those with a seasoned palate. We turn up to turbulent bass levels, we bump Tupac, we blast Toni Braxton, we crank up Billie Holiday, we provide front row concerts to the entire neighborhood. We do not know how to mourn quietly. We wail and scream in hopes our voices are resurrection enough for our bury. Even our whispers are seismic. Our voices are the literal reincarnations of our ancestors' prayers. There is no distinguishing between inside and outside voices. As caged birds now free, we sing too loud and too often, making up for years of oppressed silence. Because being loud means you're alive. It means you have found a way to survive and are celebrating, and we are defying darkness with demonstrative declarations of love. It's not about the poem, right? When we talk about poetry as healing, it's not you're creating a beautiful poem and it's going to win awards. It's about the process of writing and finding the right words, and also that you get to rip up your poetry. You get to hate your poetry, and we often are you have to love it and everything, but you don't, right? And it's really safe to rip up a poem or say, I don't like this at all, or change it, and it's a way that we can have control over a lot of things that are uncontrollable that we write about. Dr. King once said, our lives begin to end the moment we stay silent about the things that matter, which is to say, Black lives matter, which is to say, Black voices matter. When textbooks silence slavery and call it a cultural exchange, we get louder. When innocent Black girls go missing and the news reports a cat stuck in a tree instead of her name, instead of her picture, instead of an Amber Alert, we get louder. And when innocent Black men are killed and their murderers are called heroes, we get louder. See, we have been loud for centuries. I am a performance poet, so largely I'm writing to perform. There's some folks who are more page poets who are writing specifically for things to be read, which I think is a beautiful art. But often I'm imagining myself speaking it. So my process is every time I write a line, I say it out loud. And the next time I write a line, I say it out loud. So I'm creating the poem as I'm talking, because I'm trying to imagine what emotion am I trying to put into it? How is it going to say when I write it? And I'm a very disorganized writer. It's all over the place, and arrows and crossing things out. And it is a messy process, but I think art and the mess is a part of it. I think that's what makes art so beautiful. And a lot of times I am driven by emotion. Maybe I see something or I hear something, and sometimes, a lot of times it makes me mad. A lot of things are built on frustration and wanting change, but I still consider myself a joyous poet because the fact that I get to talk about the things that are angry or the injustice or my activism, that's joy, that I have a platform to say it, even though the content might be, this is a wild thing that's happening. There's joy in the fact that I get to name it and share that with my community. We will continue to raise our voices against injustice. We will dedicate our harmonies to Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., a man whose voice was powerful, and his impact is still reverberating in our ears today. Do not think this poem is about the volume of our voices. This is about speaking up in a world that is expecting you to stay silent. So, will you join us and be loud? Will you defy silence with your voice? Your voice has power. Your voice is one of the most important things that you will curate in your life. And the ways you can start that process is going to your local libraries, checking out books. Find books where you're represented, where you're the main character. Find poetry written by someone who looks like you, sounds like you, and has those lived experiences. Or I challenge you to find books that have nothing to do with you and learn about new experiences and the people in your community, because your voice is so important. And one day you might be a person in this library. Your book might be on the shelf and you might impact someone else who is looking, wishing, and desiring to be heard. You have that opportunity, and it can start right here by going to your local library district.